Hello and welcome to the video tutorial on how to fill in the new stress echo form in Syngo Dynamics. The first thing that you will notice is that the previous tab called Assessment is gone. It used to be a very busy tab, and now the same information is distributed to three different tabs: Protocol, EKG, and Echo. The first tab is the Protocol tab, and in this tab we will specify what exercise protocol was done, and as well as hemodynamic measurements of heart rate, blood pressure, as well as functional capacity if that was a stress exercise protocol. On the top of this tab there is one field that must be filled in. It's in orange, and that means that's a mandatory field. You'll see that the patient is a 20-year-old woman in this case. Although the system knows that it's a female gender, that cannot be used with this current version of Syngo in calculations. Predicted METs or predicted exercise times is gender specific, so I created equations that can take into account patient gender. Unfortunately, letters M and F cannot be used at present stage in calculation, so they have to be converted into numeric value. Since this is a female, and you place a 1 for female, had she been a male, that would have been a 0 for a male in this field. So now, once you provide the gender, you see the system automatically calculates expected minutes and expected METs, assuming that the patient is to undergo Bruce protocol. Let's say that this patient exercised for 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So now you click and you see that the system, that's the only thing that you select in this protocol. Everything else will be calculated directly, that it is a pace, that the stage 2, that it's a 5.8 minutes is equivalent to 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Expected is 12.2 minutes, 47% of expected. 7.1 METs is what on a Bruce protocol with this timing you would achieve. Expected is 12.1 and 59%, as well as VO2 is calculated all. If you're satisfied with this calculations, you just click transcribe to report, and now if you look at on the report side, now the first thing is that the exercise stress echo report is automatically generated with the Bruce protocol in parentheses, and all this information in the protocol segment of the tab here is transferred into the report. Let's say that you say, oh, this was not a Bruce protocol, maybe this was a modified Bruce protocol. No problem. You just unclick the transcribe to report. And I see that here, select protocol, it's a drop-down menu. You can select Bruce, dobutamine, modified Bruce, or Norton. Let's see that this is, maybe it's a modified Bruce. If I do that, it's automatically, the box automatically changes to modified Bruce. Notice that minutes and seconds are preserved. You don't have to re-enter them, and all the calculations are done for you. If you're happy that this is a modified Bruce, you just again click transcribe to report, and magically the report title is exercise stress echo, modified Bruce protocol, and everything else is transferred to the report. You can say, oh no, this was not a modified, maybe this is a Norton. No problem. You just go back to the drop-down menu and select Norton. Now minutes and seconds are again preserved, all the calculations are done. If you're happy, you just click transcribe to report, and the report title and the appropriate information are all generated automatically. What about if you started doing it and then you realize it's dobutamine? No problem. You just click dobutamine. Again, minutes and seconds are saved from prior entry, except that now they have a different meaning. Instead of exercise time, this is now infusion time. If you're happy with these minutes, you can just transcribe to report, and you will see now it's automatically generated the dobutamine stress echo report, and the appropriate sentence is exam protocol. Here you also, of course, specify the dose of dobutamine, of atropine, and if low pressure is given at the end, you can also specify low pressure. So all this information is now appropriately transferred to the report. Now let's review the heart rate and blood pressure findings. The information is now in the tabular form. Rest is one row, stress is another. Notice that since the system already knows patient's age, it already calculated expected heart rate of 200 beats per minute, which is 220 minus 20 for this particular patient. Let's say that the patient's heart rate is 60 at rest and blood pressure is 120 over 80. You see now that the information is all appropriately transferred to the report. Now you can actually see now stress. Let's say that the stress rate is 187. See now the system will automatically calculate a 94% of expected heart rate and create a appropriate verbiage in the report. Now if I hit determine what the peak blood pressure was, you see the system will automatically calculate the work double product and we'll put it into the report. If you finish diastolic blood pressure at stress, now we have all the information and everything is appropriately transferred to the report. Finally, we can just choose whether this was a normal or abnormal response to blood pressure response, and you will see that everything is now transferred to the report. And the final part of this tab is the reasons for stopping the test. You have choice of protocol completion, fatigue, or severe symptoms. Let's say if we can say it's a fatigue, and if there are any symptoms, you can specify them. Here now, you can choose from 2 columns. Previously, it used to be a 1 column. This is just cosmetic, and I think it's easier to do it. And finally, if this was an exercise protocol, you can specify whether it was what functional capacity is above, below average, or so forth. Okay, now let's look at the EKG tab. It contains only information regarding rest and stress EKG. This information existed on the assessment tab previously. It just I put it more into a visual context. Again, you can specify what's the resting rhythm is, what the resting findings are. Again, it's a 2 column, easier on the eye. Similarly, 2 columns are for the stress EKG findings. You can also, there are comments, there are no stress arrhythmia results spontaneously, and if you click on them, they will all appear appropriately in the report. Here, I placed in the tabular form changes in the ST segment. This applies, of course, for positive stress tests if it's an EKG. And here, you can specify depression, ST depression, slope, or leads. And just pay attention that all 3 of them need to be provided in order for a sentence to appear in the report. So if let's say that it's a 0.5 millimeter horizontal in leads 2, 3, and F, and when you specify all 3 of them, the sentence magically appears in the report. You can also specify how long it took for the ST changes to resolve, and this is in minutes. And the final portion of the EKG tab is the conclusion. Now I have changed that to be exclusive choice, meaning you can choose only one. In a prior version, you could choose, it was a checkoff list, and by mistake you could choose positive and negative simultaneously. Here it's only one choice. If it's negative, it's negative. If it's positive, it's going to be positive. And these are radio buttons, so-called. And if you choose one, the other is automatically clicked off. If you like none of the options, you just click on the option that you selected, and now none of them is selected. Finally, the Echo tab. Again, I just provided a little bit of visual layout of information, so it's easy on the eye. Again, left ventricular ejection fraction, resting, and stress you can provide. Then you can provide the LVH findings if they're important. Again, notice that LVH, degree, and location have both to be provided for a sentence to appear in the report because they're transcribed as a unit. It says mild concentric left ventricular hypertrophy. Regional findings apply for positive stress tests in ischemic region, viable region, prior infarct region, and here you can specify whether it's in distribution of one vessel or it's a multi-vessel disease. Let's say that we say LAD. The system, the test is positive for ischemia in the left anterior descending distribution. There is a lot of comments. These are checkoff comments, and these are just the same wording as it was in the prior form. With respect to the final stress echo conclusion, again, it's a mutually exclusive. You can choose only whether it's a non-diagnostic, negative, equivocal, suggestive, or positive for ischemia. Again, if I click positive, I can't click anything else in this box. Again, if I don't like any of selections, you just click the one that you selected. The appropriate verbiage is done and will show up in the report. So let's say that this is a positive report, stress echo is positive for ischemia, and since we specified LAD distribution, that will also be specified in the report. I hope this video tutorial helped you. Good luck.